brought me sprinkle cookies.
The what, no fucking TV now? Hey!
Maybe she's from Jersey.
Joe talking to the mic.
Check, check.
Alex.
Check, check.
Steve.
Check, check.
All right, great. We all sound beautiful.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Maybe She's from Jersey. I'm Alex.
I'm Jackie.
And these are our boyfriends. Feel free to introduce yourself.
Steve Cash.
I'm Joe Zuccari.
Nice to meet you guys. Thanks so much for coming on today. We told them that we were having them come on today to do a little like relationship advice, but what we're really gonna do is this is actually both your interventions.
Welcome.
Welcome. You can't leave. You're wired in. I'm kidding.
So we realized that we don't have enough cable, so we're sharing mics, so we're gonna like make out during this.
This would be very uncomfortable if we weren't. So
Yeah.
this is actually this first
We're gonna
meeting.
do better next time.
Hopefully no one gets mad at each other in this podcast because that'd be really awkward.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh wait, our sponsor today, Mojo Coffee from Hoboken, New Jersey. This is really good actually.
I got a cappuccino.
I got a vanilla cold brew black, like always. What'd you get?
I just had a cold brew black.
Cold brew.
Joe didn't get any.
I didn't get in on that invite, so I made my own coffee.
He was golfing, so he was
So
excluded. Anyway. Okay, so sorry if this is a little awkward, but we're just going to jump right in. So, a little background. Joe and I have been dating for 5 years, and I'm 25, he's 30. We're like 4.5 years apart. Ironically, they're also the same age difference, if not close.
Wow.
My little is 6 months younger than me. I know, wild. But yeah, so we thought it would be cool from a new relationship perspective to an older relationship perspective.
We're in an old relationship now.
I can't get over these headphones.
They're nice.
They're great.
Yeah, we're doing well on our budget.
I know.
Okay, so
If you ever want to start a podcast, let us know. We have a lot to say.
yeah, we have a lot of learn from our mistakes kind of situation.
Okay.
So wait, so you guys, sorry. So you guys have been dating for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
We've been dating for 10. I'm just kidding. I think it's our
Started
technically.
in the womb.
Technically-
what is today's date? It's the 20th?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
our like second
Official,
month.
Yeah, it's about, I guess, 2 months. but
Yeah.
We had our first date August.
Yeah.
Oh,
Are
I
you
love
guys
that you
celebrating like
remember
the
that.
monthly?
No.
No.
She wants to. She wants
No,
to.
I was just like, happy anniversary. And he was like, why? I'm 25. He's turning 30 in April.
Yeah, month.
So we're all around the same age actually. It's weird
I
how
know,
that.
it's weird how that worked out.
Yeah.
Maturity levels vary, but
Yeah. You're actually more immature than I am.
Okay, so a little backstory, very brief, because you guys could care less. Okay, me and Joe met years ago. We actually were next door neighbors. I had a crush on him since I was 9. He had like a 6-pack mowing the lawn. I was like, yes.
Long time ago.
I was like, let me see that. And then years later, I'm like 19, turning 20, and I grew some balls and was like, do you want to hang out? And he was like, sure.
Wait, but you texted him on Mother's Day once and you were like, tell my future mother-in-law I say happy Mother's Day.
I was very persistent, and
I remember that.
I said some bold things. I don't know who I think I am, but yeah, I would say some shit like that, like tell my future
all right.
mother-in-law.
I gotta ask then. So when was the line? You're like, I'm serious, but I'm not. Like, I'm kidding, but I'm not kidding. Like,
That
what-
never happened.
Oh, it didn't.
That line never happened.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. Like I actually was much closer with her parents
Yes,
than I was
so weird.
with her. Well, when you moved in, you were,
I was 6.
6 years old. I'm 10. I wasn't, you're not thinking of anything. Then when I'm in high school, I'm, 16, 17 years
Gross.
old. She's, still
12.
in 7th and 8th grade. Like I'm not, really looking at. But the whole time, like her dad used to tell me that she has the biggest crush on me. And I would just kind of
Traitor.
pay it no mind. Like, yeah, I looked at her as a child at the time. I mean, we were both, young, but
Like my first
that age
boyfriend,
gap is a lot bigger when you're that
my
younger.
first boyfriend, my dad asked for his advice because he
This is true.
because he was a little older,
This is
and
true.
he was like, "Do you like this guy?" And he was like, "Yeah, I guess."
Alright.
So anyway, so we've been dating for almost 5 years now. I was very persistent. I pushed a lot. Look where we are now.
Yeah, and still pushing.
What about you guys?
We met actually in the beginning of 2020, like a couple days before my birthday in January, at a
Like at work happy hour.
Yeah.
I worked with one of Jackie's friends from college, and we'd always do happy hours on Friday. And she invited this cute blonde girl, and I remember vividly hitting it off with Jackie. This is Jackie. And,
I'm Jackie.
We were talking about Sebastian Maniscalco, and I remember it was very easy to have a conversation with her. Oh no, shocker! And I want to say maybe that weekend or maybe the following week, Carol was like, "Yeah, Jackie's having a birthday party." I'm like, "Oh, that'd be fun to go to." So I went with a couple of my friends. Didn't even really think about it. And then fast forward maybe a year, we followed each other on social media and whatnot, and I used to like her stuff or like engage in stories, whatever. And I slid in her DMs or whatever, and we just started talking. And
Way
I
to go,
asked her out, and here we are. Now I'm
So wait, so the first time you guys met, it was a year prior to you guys dating, and nothing happened.
Yeah, it was just very like,
almost a year and a half,
Yeah.
like because I was actually dating someone else at the time, and I don't know if you were. And then we just kind of followed each other on social media, and it was COVID and whatever. And then I don't know, we were both single, and I think that summer of 2021, and I had no intentions of getting in a relationship. I was in the worst year of my life, and everything kind of started very lighthearted, but
no, it was very lighthearted. I think I posted a couple golf stories of like a story at Crystal Springs, and like she would post Liberty pics, and I was a golfer. I am a golfer. So it's just easy to engage. I don't know.
Definitely a lot of allure, I will say, when she posts all the Liberty National stuff. Like, you just look at it, it's like, just another day at work. Like,
Steve's actually only dating me to play at Liberty National, and then as soon as he's playing, he's like, gotta go.
all right,
Nice knowing
bucket
you.
list, check.
No, but it was very lighthearted. Asked her out, we went on Hoboken. No turning back since.
Yeah. So that's the backstories that nobody cares about.
But I think it's funny because you were there when I was trying to pursue Joe, and I was there when Steve was trying to pursue you. So we me and you got like the inside scoop of each other's relationships
That's
the whole
true.
way through.
Yeah.
I'm getting zen for this podcast. All right. Question number 1. Favorite date or favorite memory? Just pick one. We don't have time for that.
Wait, we are seeing Sebastian Maniscalco on Thursday, so that
Ooh,
might
right.
change.
That
That might change.
To be determined.
Yeah, that's a to be determined, but so far.
So far, I really enjoyed our day at the beach when we went. It was like, I want to say middle of January.
That was mine too.
Yeah, just for the day. Asbury. I think we went to Rooney's.
Yeah.
That was a fun day. You got a little tipsy that day.
I did.
When does she not get tipsy?
No,
We had like one drink.
I had one drink. We were walking on the beach, and I was like, wow. No, that was my favorite day too. There was like a beautiful sunset. The beach had like a little bit of snow on it still, and we like walked on the beach, and it was like warm out but breezy that day. It was really nice. Yeah. That was a fun day.
How about you guys?
I'm gonna say this is just one of the ones that comes to mind. We went to see this movie. I can't remember the name. Was that really inappropriate one? The cartoon.
With
food one?
the vegetables that were like all fucking each other.
Yeah.
Oh,
What was
yeah,
that
I know what
called?
you're talking about.
Like
Sausage Party.
Yes. Okay,
Sausage
so
Party.
we went. So anyway, mind you, my cousin was in the hospital.
Terrible dating.
Yeah. But I think it was
Go see
funny.
what,
But I
like,
thought it
early
was so
on.
funny. Picks me up. We go to this movie. It is vulgar. And we were newly together, and I was so uncomfortable the whole time. And he was like laughing. I was laughing, but I was like, holy shit. This is so weird. And then we ended up like going to TGI Fridays, like a normal date. But for whatever reason, that sticks in my head because it was the first time that I was like, okay, we got like the uncomfortable stage of dating was right there. And then we were gone. It was done. And then we were past it. And I was like, that was a good, I guess that was
like a
time.
way to just.
It was. And it like got.
We're gonna sink or swim, see how
It
you
got
handle
over
this
the
kind of thing.
awkwardness really quickly. And then from there, I was like, really comfortable moving forward. I don't know about you though, because I'm sure that wasn't your favorite.
I'm going back and forth between two in my head.
Just pick one.
But I think it would be the first time we went up to New York around Christmas time to see. Went to Rockefeller Center, saw the tree. And
Real
we went
relationship things.
Yeah, real relationship. Had to take a picture, you know, with 9 million other people also trying to take the same picture. But then we went out to what's that singing?
Black Tap Milkshake?
Oh, yeah, that.
Ooh.
Oh, and we went to Stardust Diner.
Stardust Diner. Yeah.
Where they sing, and they made Joe sing.
No way.
Yeah. So, again, another one kind of early on. I think that was our first Christmas.
That was our first Christmas.
Yeah.
Let's do the next one. You guys answer this first. What's your biggest pet peeve about each other? And then you can say your favorite thing, so it's not like a shit sandwich, you know.
Yeah. You go first because I'm going to see how hard you're going to go.
Okay.
And see how hard I'm going to come back at you.
My biggest pet peeve.
Come on, you tell me. There's a lot.
Yeah, do your favorite thing first.
All right, my favorite thing about you, I think you ground me. I was telling them earlier today, like when I'm freaking out about something, I'm overthinking, you're like, stop. Like, this is ridiculous. Even though my mom could say the same thing and it doesn't resonate, there's just something about you being like, this is really not a big deal. Stop thinking about it. Like, or here's the steps to resolve. And then I'm like, that made so much sense. That just saved me 2 hours of crying. I think my biggest pet peeve would be your expectations of a wife. As far as like being at home with kids, like majority versus like me or you, breastfeeding, and I would have
You guys don't have kids.
He wants me to breastfeed.
Woohoo!
No, we had one conversation.
He disagrees.
I'm not gonna leave you if you don't.
Obviously, but I just think your family was 20 years behind because your dad was raised by your grandma, so whatever. And I'm more forward because my family's the opposite. So I think sometimes we clash with that, and like, I'm not a good cook. Anyone that knows me knows that, and I hate it. I'm a great baker though, so like, but I hate cooking. So we had this conversation that we try and trade off things, but I feel like sometimes they can be a little worrisome for me because I have to be like, I want to be like as good as your mom's like up here. I just want to be like right there.
My mom is very traditional, you know.
So I feel like that's hard to reach up to or like live up to.
Yeah.
But I don't think you do it on purpose. It's
I don't
just how
mind
you
doing
grew up.
the cooking. I've been doing the cooking.
I know.
I enjoy cooking.
With Joe.
Exactly.
Okay,
What's yours?
You want favorite or do you want
whatever
first?
comes to mind first?
Favorite, I would say how far you go to like help your friends and family, people that are in need. Like if you ever have friends that are, you know, feeling down or having tough times, hey Joe, I want to go out and meet up with whoever, and you know, they haven't been doing good, and go take her out to dinner or just go hang in the house, like, you know, kind of drop whatever you would normally be doing, you know, after work, after the routine, and go and make sure that, you know, your friends are taken care of. So yeah, definitely.
That's awesome.
Biggest pet peeve.
Here we go.
I would probably say now that we've been living together for
that helps.
6 months or so, you really start to see what truly how people are. So I would say probably it's a good thing that you're very cleanly as far as the house goes. Our house is always vacuumed and always looking good, but sometimes I'm not done with shit. And you're already ready to put it away. Like I'm the cook in the family.
Mid-bite.
So I'm cooking and making things, and like I put the spoon down that I'm using to cook with, turn around to get another utensil, and that thing's already in the sink being cleaned, like being put away. And I would say probably. You know,
I know, I have to work on that.
I like saw these memes on whatever it was, Facebook or Instagram, and there's like a picture like zoomed out of like a chair. And a closer picture, there's like a paper clip underneath the wheel of a chair. Yeah. And it's like, ask a guy like if he has a paper clip. He goes, oh yeah, there's one in my office on the floor, like underneath this thing. Like, how do they know where that is? But if you were walking around, you just, this is garbage, grab it, throw it out. Like, I knew that paper clip was there. If I ever needed it, I know exactly where to go to.
Yeah.
But when stuff starts getting moved around, you're like, oh shit, where's my stuff?
You go first.
I go first? Okay.
Say it right into the mic so everyone can hear you.
Check. Maybe it's not a pet peeve, but Jackie is 1,000 degrees when she sleeps. Literally a fucking pot roast.
Wow, you just went really nice, by the way.
Yeah. But she always sleeps with the window open, and I'm freezing my ass off. So she's like, your room is so hot. I'm like, no.
Your room is really hot.
You're just 2,000 degrees.
His room is a Sahara desert for all his plants. No, you make it that temperature for your plants.
I close all the vents. I'm telling you. Because
for your plants.
Then it's dry heat, then it fucks
it's
up
like
the plants.
his plants, me. Like, as long as his plants are okay, he's like, you'll survive. We fall asleep, like, and he's holding me, and he woke up, and I guess I was just like, just dripping in sweat, and he goes, I fucking thought I was giving you a baptism. Like, you're just drenched in sweat. And I was like, it's so warm in his room.
That's
okay.
cute that they're still they fall asleep while holding each other together. I know,
that's
just
disgusting.
made
We
me
don't
sick.
need to do that.
It's
so
crazy.
cute for you guys.
When I actually sleep well, she doesn't move. But then when she moves 10 times during the night, maybe that actually leads to my next pet peeve.
oh, your next one.
flip-flops like
One.
Wow, we were doing a favor. No, you
We're
got
2
two
months
that
in, and he's like, I got a list. Here it
She
is.
flip-flops like a pancake when she sleeps.
Oh yeah,
She
so does
moves
Alex.
5 times. Oh, how'd you sleep, babe? Slept great. No, she has unbelievable smile and laugh. That's one of my favorite things about her.
Thanks. It was very
Definitely
nice.
lights up a room.
Let's see. What are mine? Pet peeve. Probably like kind of the same thing actually. Like, I think it's awesome that you're like all about cleanliness. He is the cleanest person I've ever met, which is awesome. Like, everything is always clean all the time, but like sometimes we'll be having a nice moment and he's like, oh my God, get everything off the bed. And I'm like, what? And he's like, I dropped something. He's like, I dropped food. He's like, you gotta get off. He's taking everything off. And we're looking for this little like M&M. He's like, oh my God, it's gonna stain. And he's freaking out.
Hey,
and I'm
reality
like,
check. Chocolate stains. So,
he's like, but the way he was like not even on this planet. He was like,
It's like everything stops.
everything stopped. He's like, shut up.
Yeah,
He's like, we have to figure this
yeah,
out.
it's called OCD.
Yeah.
You know what's going to help with that? Get a dog. And, you
And
don't have to
they'll
worry.
eat it.
Things fall on the ground,
Right.
and hey, no sweat.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And then he's like, we'll get back. And he's like, I'm going to take 2 hours to fend to my plants. Do you mind? I'm just going to. And I'm like, oh, sure. Yeah, it's great.
Their process.
But that'll lead into my next thing. I think my favorite thing about you is your drive and like how hardworking you are. And like when you're passionate about things, you're very passionate about them. Like, you go all in on those things. And I think that's very admirable.
Thank you.
So that leads into pro and a con, you know?
Thank you.
Solid.
Solid. It says, what's best advice for the listeners on keeping a relationship 5 years, like just a long-term relationship, strong, or like what helps like keep it fresh kind of thing?
We're like, we don't know.
I don't know how
Can
you
you
got
tell
there.
us?
I blacked out. I think your honeymoon phase should last at least 2 years. Otherwise, I don't think it's gonna work. I mean, we had COVID around the 3-year mark. So like that sucked, but I think we actually did we've never lived together before, and like
I think we've grown a lot during COVID.
when COVID happened,
That's
we
probably
lived
tougher,
together.
right? Just
It was
like because
really
there
hard.
weirdly was. It's not like you had balance.
I know.
Yeah.
At all, where you
and
weren't able
at
to.
the time, we were still living at home.
Yeah, but we were neighbors, so we,
Yeah, I mean, well, you had your place in Philly, but we weren't even
Yeah.
going there anymore because
Right.
we were, everybody, we didn't know what the hell was going on, with the world. So we're like, all right, let's, just stay home. And we were with each other 24/7.
24/7, and we were with each other's families a lot.
Yeah.
which, like it was a lot of people.
It was definitely it was good. Like we grew a lot together, but also like it was you're with each other all the time too. There's a lot of
Right. So I definitely think when you go through like things like that, obviously no one expected the pandemic to happen, but like really take note of what you need to work on and what you also progressed in. But from what I took from our COVID situation to how we live now, like I try and communicate differently from like year one, because year one you're just like obsessed with each other and like everything's a yes, and then
True.
like as you go on you get to know someone's pet peeves and whatever, and like I have to adjust me a little bit and vice versa. And as I feel like even though we're young, we've only been together 5 years, like in the long run that's not a lot of time, but you have to learn to communicate differently depending on the circumstances, someone's mood. Now that I live with
you learn
him,
to let things go to like things that would bother
pick your
you. Like,
battles.
yeah, exactly.
Things like that. I'm terrible at that.
I think like what advice though, like somebody that's early on, if you see yourself obviously with the person long term, like make time, set time aside to like everybody has their routines of things they do, but like whether it's a day off of work or a certain day of the week or once a month, like hey, this is going to be like a date night kind of night, or this is going to be like I'm off on Sundays, she's off Sundays,
Yeah.
so like if I'm golfing in the morning, like after like later on
we film podcasts.
okay, yeah, like, whatever. We're gonna go and do something. We try to make something regimented so that that doesn't fall away, and you're doing things together. Just keep up on it.
Quality time.
Yeah.
Do you guys have something you do during the week?
We make out.
Do you like Housewives on Housewives on Tuesday night?
No, he hates Housewives.
Yeah, I don't want to get into that. I don't want to have any negativity.
Steve
in this
watches.
podcast.
You get more excited about Housewives than I do.
I do.
Really?
I love that show. I love it.
We have a thing every Tuesday night. We get sushi and we watch Housewives together. And sometimes like it'll
There
be
you
a
go.
commercial and I'm like talking his ear off. I'm like, oh my god, blah 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 blah. And he's like,
He's
oh
like,
my god, it's back on. Shh.
We watch like Netflix shows together. So like we're watching Inventing Anna right now. So things like that.
Yeah.
We do that together. We pick a new show. But he's recently been trying to not watch as much TV. So now he assigned me to learn Spanish. So on my own time. Yeah. So
did not assign you to learn Spanish.
He said, you watch a lot of TV. We watch a lot of TV. We should do more productive things. So he does some stock research on his laptop, and I'm doing Duolingo, learning Spanish.
Oh my God.
So I just think that, hey, let's, in the time that we would, normally binge 3 or 4 episodes of a show, like, let's go do something else.
Right.
Like, and we find things, in between. We take, dog to the dog park and, like, go out, do whatever. But I just don't want to be, on those times that we're home together, like, just, I don't know, I almost feel like it's wasted.
Right.
You're watching 5 episodes of something, like,
right.
Okay, let's go do something.
Right.
I mean, I feel like we're in our, like, everything's exciting area.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like because everything's new.
Yeah, I completely agree.
He's like, you're boring as fuck.
No, but I could also see how it could go. Like, we both live in Hoboken.
Yeah.
And it's not like we're going to the same restaurant every Friday or Saturday. Right. We're doing the same thing. Like, we're doing staycations at the shore. We're going to a comedy show in the city. We're going to a comedy show in Central Jersey. Like, we have very fun planned events that we're doing.
I think that's the thing too.
It's like creating.
We've been planning in advance. I feel like we've been doing that for a while now. Even before we were like actually dating, like there was always like something to look forward to too. Like
exactly.
Oh, we were seeing this Broadway show, and it could literally be like I was saying in the summer, like let's just do like a picnic in the park. Like let's pick out like you said, like setting time apart. I was like, it doesn't have to be like a grand thing, like just something to kind of be like that's a moment for us, and like
it's different.
Yeah,
I think what we've been doing and probably just not even noticing is like we do a lot with our friends. I feel like it's not just always us all the time. I feel like that can also be toxic for a relationship when you're each other's bubble.
Do you guys hang out with maybe one group more than versus the other?
Honestly,
you guys are pretty good at balance.
I mean, we definitely hang out with his friends more. My friends are kind of more sporadic as far as job wise.
Okay.
Like a lot of my friends are nurses, so like their hours are weird.
I like this one. What's the best way you have built trust in your relationship?
Why did you both like?
Oh
look at
no,
me?
I was just waiting.
Joe.
What did
you
This question's just
I was
for Joe.
looking at you like I don't fucking know.
Well, I feel like
how am I building trust, or how are you building trust with me, or
I think vice versa.
Like
just
as
like
a couple.
Yeah, I think. Like, for me, transparency is everything. Like, I just love, like, clear communication. I feel like for us, if I'm having a tough day, I'll just be like, hey, by the way, I'm, like, having an overwhelming day, whatever. That way, like, if I'm not responding to him cold, he's thinking he did something and maybe I'm mad at him. Like, I feel like the transparency of just being like, it's not you, like, I'm just having an off day. Like,
just letting you know.
Yeah, and then he's like, great. Like, now he can kind of approach it in that way. And I don't know. I feel like I'm always just like, let's just put everything on the table so we're on the same page. That's kind of my biggest thing. And I feel like...
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Completely agree. Like, if I have 5 phone calls from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and she doesn't get a text from me, a good morning text, she's not like, well, what the fuck is this guy? Like,
yeah, like he's like, hey, I have these calls all day. You know what I mean? And I'm like, cool. Like, now, and I'm like, good luck on your calls. Like, there's no, like... I feel like we'd never keep each other up in the air.
Right,
like we're never in the dark.
When something does bother you, or you're triggered by something, it's like, okay, if you want to talk about it, you don't want to talk about it, great. If you want to talk about it, what is it? If you don't want to talk about it, let's table it for another time.
Sorry, I'm leaning on you.
Do you agree, or do you have something else that we do that's building trust?
That's literally what just transparency, communication. Obviously just being each other more. And even I feel like friends as well is a big thing. Like if I was hanging out with scumbags, you would probably feel less, I don't know, like less trusting if I were to be like, hey, I'm going out with so-and-so. Like, well, I don't like that kid. Like, why are you going out with him? It's like, well, I can see that potentially being a conflict down the road too, where I know I have good friends, so it's like, oh, have fun with them. Like, have a fun night. And, we text sporadically, and then, hey, I'm home or whatever. Like, that's easy.
Yeah. I feel like communication.
We do that a decent amount now. Like, we kind of, even though we put time aside to, like, hang out together, we do a lot of, like, independent.
We do. I like that.
She's like, hey, I'm going to go out with my friends tonight, whatever, go out to eat or, watch the fights or something. Like, same thing. I'm like, hey, I'm, grabbing a beer with whoever after work, and we might go to wherever, get something to eat. Like, we're always checking in during that time. It's not like, I get a phone call, I come home from, work, and I'm like, hey, where are you? Oh, yeah, I went out with so-and-so. Like, again, communication's always the case. So, but yeah, we're completely fine. Again, we're 5 years in now, but
yeah, I don't really. In the beginning, I was like, wait, what? You're not gonna hang out with me?
Yeah.
Okay. What is your love language?
We talk about this all the time.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. Mine is definitely quality time and physical touch.
I agree. Mine's definitely quality time.
Yeah.
I don't need to be coddled. I don't need to say, be heard, I love you. It's just quality time. I love doing physical activities, going out, whatever, but definitely quality time. So, how about
What's your second one?
Probably acts of service. That's probably my second one, yeah. How about you guys?
I'm going to answer for Alex because I know 1,000% what it is. Words of affirmation.
He said that with so much hate in his tone.
I hear it on a daily basis. Wake up and if I don't say goodnight or anything, Joe, words of affirmation. I love you. But I get it. I mean, you want to be.
That's just how I
receive it.
Yeah, that's how I receive it. I'm not like a needy person. I just know that
I'm very needy. I just need this.
I'm just saying, I know for a fact that it's actions speak louder than words. I'm 100% like that. But we've been dating for so long that that's just something that that stands out to me for whatever reason. It just does. You're not like that, so.
Yeah, I don't need the words as much. I would rather the acts.
I'm always like, you're so beautiful.
Yeah. I appreciate it. I'm not saying that I don't not like it. I appreciate you when you're telling me that. I would prefer, I don't know, an act of
you
kindness.
You like quality time too.
Yeah, that, I would prefer, you say the whole cooking thing. Hey, when I come home from work and you were like, hey, Joe, I made, chicken cutlets for you. This, I'm fucking to the moon. Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah. I'm going to do it.
One day.
I am.
Taco Tuesday.
I like the balance approach. When we ask that, how do you guys balance friends, your relationship, your family? How do you guys balance that out?
Honestly, we do so much of those things together. Whether we're with, family for a party or, friends are having something. There are times we split up and do our own thing, like I said, and have no issues. There's certain holidays still that neither of us want to give up.
Yeah.
Right. Christmas Eve, I do the 7 fishes, at my family's house, and you don't ever come to that.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then Thanksgiving.
Easter, I go to your house. Yeah. 4th of July, I go to your house.
If we're having something, but
Hanukkah, you come to my house.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to Joe's house for Hanukkah.
No, there will be no
or Passover.
I think we balance it really well, mostly because our families were close before we dated. So I'm sure we're the exception. That made things 10 times easier. There was no, other than his extended family, I knew his immediate family, they knew me, and vice versa. So it was a really easy transition, and I enjoy spending time. I spend more time with his family than my own family. Yeah. So I enjoy spending time with them, and even if
my family's also very family oriented.
Yeah.
We're together still to this day. I'm 30 years old, and
we were supposed to go over there today.
Yeah. Yeah, my cousins are so we used to have birthday parties with your little cousins and stuff. My little cousins are in their 30s now, and we still get together for all of our birthdays. Yeah. So. We're just very.
So I think we're the exception. I don't know if we can answer that very well.
Okay.
How about you guys?
Wait, I'm sorry.
We're talking about balance with friends.
I feel like we're what?
Are you listening?
Were you listening this whole time?
No, I was
you're
sleeping.
just nodding
Sleeping with my eyes open. Actually, no.
This is a pet peeve of mine. Listening.
I listen all the time. I feel like we're learning that still. But I feel like we're very. We communicate a lot about it, but. I feel like we do well on balance.
Yeah, we communicate.
Yeah.
I try to be clear as possible with boundaries and expectations, and I try to make plans with family, friends, and Jackie, so then one doesn't suffer than the other, because I don't want anything to go south.
I think it's also I think it's also too, say for example, you had dinner with Desi Saturday or something. What's up, Desi, if you're listening? But you're oh, then let's do something Saturday in the day.
So since we're being thrown curveballs on every one of these questions, I'm gonna throw a curveball because I heard you say something. I just want an honest opinion. I heard you bring up boundaries. Yeah. Do you guys have any boundaries that you guys set?
Oh yeah, a lot
for certain things or.
I feel like we do.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say there's a boundary of you can't say this, you can't do this. It's not like that.
Oh no, not like that. I feel go ahead. No, it's not you. You take the mic.
I definitely try to just establish boundaries if I'm either not feeling well, if I'm tired, or maybe I know we're seeing Sebastian on Thursday. We might be doing something with our family on Friday. We might be doing something on Saturday, and then she proposed something on Sunday. It's okay, where can I fit, my own me time in that, and like my own work time, like trying to go back to school or whatever else that is, just trying to balance that out and make that clear and not provide hard feelings, but it's boundaries.
Yeah. But I feel like I also, in the way, was like, even when I said that to you, I was like, listen, because we like kind of set that up and we're like, oh, great. And then we'll both have Sundays to like do our thing, like do our own thing. So I was like, hey, this is something that's going on Sunday, but like don't feel obligated, like you have to come. Like I'm very understanding of that too. I did force
Steve to come. I was like, you're coming.
but I'm very understanding of that. Like I feel like we're both very career driven, and like we've noticed like Sundays we both like to have our own time to like prep our week. Right. And I feel like that's like something we've been focusing on. I feel like we also have a lot of respect for each other's boundaries as well. Like and
I think that's the whole point of progression and growth as well, because I've gotten to the point where I have said fuck off the boundaries, and I've been so left with something, and then everything else suffers. So I've been very conscious. 2021 was a very self-reflection year of saying, okay, I started seeing a therapist, and it's like, okay, like we talk about that stuff. If you make rules for yourself, what's your internal dialogue saying if you're going against your rules? So,
that's true.
Yeah, that's good.
How about you guys?
When you're living together now, there's no
He's like, no, it's all fucking out the window. He's like, everything you guys are doing right now sounds great. It's gonna be over soon.
I don't know, but we have very independent lives.
No, we do. But I mean, like, as far as like, listen, personal boundaries are non-existent. Like, if I'm taking a shower, that doesn't mean anything. She's coming in, doing her hair, doing this. I'm going to the bathroom while she's in the shower. Like, that's kind of like.
So
that's how you keep it alive, guys.
Yeah, that's it.
So do you guys ever say, "Hey, I need me time. Go downstairs for an hour. I need to be up here for an hour."
No, but I think like
it's
never said. Sometimes like you just learn to read, your partner, and like she knows like if I come home from work, and like she can just tell like, oh, like he had a long day or whatever, like, and I don't mean to do it, and I know that like afterwards, like having the foresight, looking back, like, oh, I kind of was like acting like a douche when I came in, but she just knows like, all right, like he had a rough day, let me just
You like to go on your laptop a lot when you're like trying to distract yourself. I feel like have your own time.
All right,
ask your question.
All right.
Okay, what question you want to do, Steve?
Next question. Let me take over. This is the Steve and Joe podcast. What inspires you about your partner? You entered a very tough field, Jackie, filled with sharks, and it's very admirable that you are extremely goal-oriented. You have your Sunday list that you do. You have your daily list that you do. You have your daily affirmations. But no, you're very driven, and there's a lot of things that could bring you down. There's a lot of roadblocks that you could definitely play victim of, and you don't. You choose to move through them and continue to strive forward, and it inspires me. It really does, and I feel I'm very goal driven as well. And seeing somebody like that, it just pushes me harder. So thank you.
I like that.
Yeah.
That was very sweet.
That was cute.
That was very sweet.
All right, I'm going to give the mic to you because I want to hear this.
I would say the same thing about just being so goal-oriented and, like, pushing yourself forward and, like, very, like, career-driven. Like, I have a lot of respect for that. I'm very for, like, when you're like, oh, I'm going to work on this, and I'm like, yeah, do that. Like, that's awesome for your career and your future. I think that's very admirable, is just, like, how driven you are. And, like, with everything you do, I think that's, like, very inspiring. With also like the way that you handle things in your life is very admirable too, like very much like setting boundaries with people, setting boundaries for yourself with like work and this and that. Like you very much take care of yourself, and that's very admirable. Like it's nice to be around people like that, because then it's also refreshing. I don't know, does that make sense?
No.
Fuck,
I'm kidding. It makes complete sense.
You guys are so admirable.
Thank you so much, Joe.
But I'd say the same thing. I think like the career, like just drive, like in any point of your life, like you go to the gym, you take care of yourself, you like to eat healthy, or like sometimes not, but like you're very focused on those things. Like you're always putting your best foot forward, I guess.
What about that side of the table?
I just think that you're really good at compartmentalizing things. When you leave work stays at work. When you leave, a stressful situation, home, friends, me, whatever, you are really good at not bringing it to whatever you're currently at. And I also just think you're one of the most family-oriented people I've ever met. And not that I'm not close with my family, that's not the case, but to see you prioritize so casually, like you're such a good brother, son, cousin. Like I admire that so much, and I think it like kind of like you complimented me and how I'm always there for my friends. Like I feel the same way about you.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'd appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I would say how you admire me.
You admire me?
I mean, how I.
He's like, I just love how you love me.
No, probably when we were going through like the whole like move-in process, and even the first like month or so, you just kind of went like the extra everything just to like really kind of make it like our home, and like that was like a top priority. You didn't want to be. I mean, listen, we're in this place that's a temporary time, but you really wanted to make it feel like this is our home. Like this is the start of like us living together. From buying decorations for every holiday, like up front. Like we moved in August, and we already had Christmas decorations, Valentine's, St. Patty's Day, Easter, Halloween, like you name it, we had everything in there. But I do admire that that's like what you want to do. All the furniture like that we were picking out, even the picture frames everywhere, all these little knickknacks and stuff like we have. Like I don't know, you kind of went the extra mile to just really make it feel like a home and not just like us.
Well, you've never lived outside of your house, so I wanted to give you because I made my apartment my own, but this was ours together, and you were very busy, so I tried to take the lead and like make
it your own again. Yeah,
that's so nice.
And
your house.
Their place is great.
Yeah,
you were straight out of a magazine.
It literally
really
is.
is.
Thanks.
Really is.
It literally is.
Joe paid for a lot of it.
She's like, and I put everything together. Do you guys have any questions for us to answer for new couples, maybe?
How do you guys transition your lives from being single to dating somebody? Like, how much has your life changed?
That's a good question.
It's a really good question.
I feel like actually this is the healthiest I've ever felt in a relationship. I feel like we both had, like 2021 for both of us was just years where we were like working on ourselves. I was in the toughest year of my life. If you're not an asset to my life, like get the fuck. I don't even want to look at, I wasn't even looking to date anybody, like kind of thing. And I feel like you were kind of the same way where you were like, I'm not looking to date anyone. Like I'm going to work on me and like enjoy, like we both felt very whole getting into a relationship that I feel like, in my eyes, I feel like he's just an addition to my life, and it's more about like making time and like creating that relationship and like making it strong. But I like it generally felt like an asset. It didn't ever feel like I was like, oh, okay, now I have to like bring this back, and I just felt like it was like an addition. It to me it did feel like an easy transition. We always enjoyed each other's time.
I never felt like I was under the gun, and I felt like we did a lot of things before we even started getting like even close to kind of talks like that.
Yeah.
I felt like we saw the Temptations on Broadway. We saw Chicago. Like we did a lot of dinners. I knew you before. Like I felt like we became friends in a way before we even like started. It's not like we were hot and heavy right away. Right. Exactly. It was very, organic.
Yeah.
And I just enjoyed talking to you, and I enjoyed spending time with you. So when the time came when we were together, it felt natural.
Yeah.
And you knew that night. I remember we were at Patello in Jersey City. Shout out. And I was so nervous that night, and she could tell.
I was like, he either had a really tough day at work or he's gonna ask me tonight, because he was so quiet and nervous. And then we got our drinks and he got all awkward and he was like, cheers to us.
I did not say that. That was so funny.
Yes, you did.
No, I fucking didn't. No, I didn't.
And I was like,
no, I didn't.
I was like, I think he's gonna. And then I got nervous because he was nervous, so I just started babbling on, and I was telling him like weird stories, and I was like, yeah, blah 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 blah. And he was like, he just literally waited in silence, and he goes, so. And then,
No, it was a fun night.
Yeah.
It was a fun night.
Is that how you guys officially asked?
Yeah. I mean, it was already trending that way anyway, and we've had talks and whatnot. So, that I guess that just made it official.
I feel like when you have that not groundwork, but like you have that, friendship, and then turning into something is like a solid, just foundation in general to like start a relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of people that met on, like online dating, but I just feel like, if you're meeting on Tinder or Hinge or something, like you're literally trying to start a relationship from the second you meet that person, as opposed to like, whatever, seeing somebody out and, like multiple times going out, doing things together, then like turning it into something. But I just feel like that's, it makes it easier to at least start like a foundation of something when you're, what have you had to give up or sacrifice and like that you not regret, but kind of miss now that you're in a relationship that you're like unable to really do anymore?
I'm excited to hear your response.
Yeah.
I think one thing I've had to maybe sacrifice, when I was single, I never had to say, "Hey, I'm doing this" to somebody, or like, "Hey, I'm going to the I'm going to the country club," or like, "Hey, I'm going home," and it's like I didn't have to worry about that because I didn't care. I could put my phone away for 3 days straight, and no one would really fucking care. I could very much turn off all social media on my phone and not talk to anybody, and just like go home or go do something. So it's not a bad thing at all. Like, obviously, I want to keep Jackie updated as possible, going back to the whole transparency and communication thing that she mentioned at the beginning of the podcast. But that's probably the one thing that I could do no problem. I could be without my phone for a week. I would have no problem. I uninstall social media for a month, like, just for the fuck of it. I don't care. So, probably that. Okay. How about you?
This is a little dark, but I feel like I keep getting dark on my... But, like, clearly, like, I'm grieving. You know, so there's just some days where, like, everything is fine, but I'm grieving. And I feel terrible because I don't want to bring that into our relationship. But at some point, I do have to let him know, like, what's going on in that day.
Right. Here's why
and not that it's his responsibility to take care of that, but, like... Otherwise, like, that can cause a problem because he's like, okay, well, you seem a little short with me. Like, you know, and then it could just, like...
It rubs off, yeah.
So, like, at some point, like, I really do have to communicate, like, I'm having a tough day and, like... And that's it. Like, you know, and we have been discussing, like, ways to support each other and, like, what works best because, you know, maybe his way of needing support is different than mine. And I feel like we've been, like, learning that about each other. But
that gets easier with time. Like, that's kind of what we were saying before. Like, when I come home and I'm, you know, in a rough mood, or she comes home from... something, like, we just know, okay, it's not us, and, like, there's something going on with you, and I'll just give you your space. Now, if it continues, like, into the next day or whatever, like, hey, like, why are you giving, like, why the fuck you acting like that? What's going on?
I just think, just
we're
in
both
my...
very upfront. Like, if there's something bugging me, like, what's your fucking problem?
Exactly. And that's good. It's just, I think, for me, I am very good at I'm, for lack of a better word, putting on a face. And, like, I can very much show up and, like, people would have no idea what I'm going through. Like, I feel like I've really mastered that in my life. But in a relationship, I can't do that. Like, I do have to at some point be like, this is what's going on and, you know, whatever. And that's... makes you uncomfortable. Yeah, and it's honestly so hard for me because I feel bad. He could be having a really great day and, like, I don't know. that's something that I have to work on.
Well, especially for the other person, too. You don't know, you know, just because you don't know the person as well yet.
Right.
That, like, you don't know how to take it if you're coming home and you're like, oh, you're saying this, you're acting this way, and you're like, well, what did I do something?
Right.
Or what's going on? Like, why are you acting like this? And it's just
communication.
You know.
For anyone who's out there, like, in a relationship and you're grieving, like, it's hard because, like, you do want someone there for comfort, but it's also like you can't really I can't depend on him to make me feel better. That's not his responsibility. Like, I have to take care of that, but I also have to, like, communicate with you, like, when I am having those days.
I agree. On our first date, I mean, you started talking about your dad within the first 5 minutes of the conversation, and I knew there was a level of comfort there. It's like, okay, she actually trusts me to an extent, or she feels comfortable enough, you know, across from this idiot where he's listening or he's engaging. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
Yeah. I'd say that's mine. I know that's, like, a little dark, but, like, that was a struggle for me, is, like, sharing.
Well, listen, that's a never-ending process.
Right.
That's one thing that's just...
Yeah.
You know, it's just tough to deal with anyway.
He was very, like, talk about him all you want. Like, I love hearing the stories. Like, he was always very open to that and very accepting, and that was very comforting for me. Like, that was a huge thing. Like, I don't know, that made me feel really, like, safe, so.
Way to go, Steve.
Way to go, Steve.
All about that safe energy, baby.
Okay, next question.
Okay, what do you need most from your partner?
I would say just support. I have also been in relationships where it hasn't been there, and you feel like, not like you're alone, and I don't, as you said before, I don't need a cheering squad. I don't need somebody to, like, fix me or anything like that, but I'm striving towards these goals, and we talk about these goals, and Jackie has these goals that she does every Sunday, and I have these goals, and it's like, hey, I want to hit this goal by the end of the year, then I got to break it down for the month and the week, and that's how you become successful and you get ahead in life. 100%. And when somebody's in your corner saying, that's kick-ass, go for it, do what you need to do, like, I'm here on the sideline if you need any help. So that's what I would need from a partner.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. I honestly would think the same thing. Like, my biggest thing is support, because, like you said, like, the field I've chosen is very hard, and, like, it is a lot, like, social media stuff and seeing comments and things like that. And I always say that to him, I'm like, talk to me whenever you feel like you need some sort of whatever. Like, I won't and he doesn't really give a shit. But like, I'm like, if you do, like, you say something, you know, like, let's talk it
Don't
out, like,
keep
whatever.
it.
Yeah,
Don't
like,
keep it in.
my biggest thing is like support, and he's so supportive of like whatever. Like, he's helped me pick out questions for videos and things like that, and like he'll sit down with me and like I'll ask him advice about this, and like he's always just been like so supportive and in my corner, and that's really refreshing to me.
Good.
So
Yeah, what you guys?
Alex?
I feel like I'm gonna be generic. I think support's like the biggest thing, especially when you've been dating for so long. Like in the beginning.
So long.
she was like dating for so long.
Sorry. I just want to get close. I just feel like in the beginning, not that this is like, I don't mean to sound so superficial, but you want everything from your partner in the beginning. You want like every aspect of them, all the good. You don't want any of the bad. Like that's normal in the beginning. But like as you guys are already there, but as you, I think, evolve in a relationship, support's just the number one thing, because as adults in general, we're changing all the time, whether it's careers, physically, mentally, you know, people pass away, like there's milestones, and you're never going to be, I'm not the person I was 5 years ago.
Right.
And neither is he, and that's normal. And I think that's where relationships fail, is when you grow, but you don't grow together.
Yeah.
So I think support on both ends is super important. I just agree with you.
Yeah.
All right. How about you, Joey?
I don't want to add a fourth support. In
So pick something else.
Sure.
But
We know Joey's on
Or
board
just
for the
agree
support.
and we'll move on.
yeah, I agree. Let's continue. This
Okay.
episode.
What's the best way to resolve conflict in your relationship?
I feel like we talked about this the other day, or I sent him, it was a little picture, and it was like a couple, and it was like me, you, and like the problem was like in the middle, and they were arguing like against each other, and then it was a picture, and it was like me, you, like the couple together against the problem. And that I feel like is so important to remember, that like when there is conflict, it's not to turn on each other and like get mad at each other. It's to come together and be like, how do we resolve that together? That sounds so like dumb and cheesy.
I love that.
But yeah, I'll send you the photo was really cute. Like,
Yeah, no,
and
yeah.
it that is helpful to remember, because also in the moment, like when conflict arises, you automatically want to be defensive. That's just like a natural human instinct, and it's understandable. Like I think it's more in the moment to like take a step back and be like, okay, like what is the actual objective of this conversation? Is it to yell? Like, am I just angry, or like do we actually want to resolve something? I feel like is like what comes into play.
Yeah, I completely agree.
What about you? I'll let you take the lead on this one.
Yeah, I mean, to kind of like, I don't know, stem off of that. That's you do your immediate reaction usually is, you know, of yourself, is defend yourself and like, no, like either I'm not wrong or this is why.
Get closer.
And again, you say too, like pick and choose your battles. There's certain times where like conflict is going to come up, and like, is it really worth going down this rabbit hole of you know, like getting to the root of what it is? Sometimes there's conflicts that are, you know, like, hey, just move on.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm a big proponent of that, like not harping on something. Like she says, you know, all the time, like when I leave work, my work is gone. And I could have a shit day or a ton of drama or whatever happening at work, and I don't bring it home with me, and like it's gone. Same thing in a relationship. Like if there's something that's, you know, small, that's really not that insignificant, like you can just pass it by, then pass it by, like, and put it past you. Alex sometimes has trouble with that.
Because I'm a fixer.
Where she's like, no, like if there's a problem, I need to fix it right now, and like let's get to the root of it, then find a solution and move on. When if it's something that's not like that drastic, like
he'll be like, I didn't love this pesto sauce, and I'm like, all right, back up. I'm like, so what did I do wrong? If he gives me an inch of attitude, I'm like, are you mad that I'm cooking? Did you want to cook? What's happening? Like I just overanalyze everything. I always have to, there's some type of conflict that I have to resolve, and that's not always the case.
It depends on the situation too. Like when we go whitewater rafting every year, and
She never wants to come.
Hell no.
well, I will say
Do nothing to sign
Will
away.
you
I wouldn't.
I'll go. Yeah.
It's not like conflict, but it's, you know, like kind of a. It's in a dangerous like situation.
Yeah,
like,
oh,
these
yeah.
are,
Yeah.
like class 3 rapids.
We are
like,
both alphas. Like we're big personalities.
yeah, and it's like fight or flight. You know, if we're there and we're about to tip over and like
Which just
capsize. I'm yelling at her to like paddle to the left, paddle to the right.
And I was like,
back.
shut the fuck up.
And we clash, and like we gotta like figure out how to do it.
I'm a leader and he's a leader,
Yeah.
so we're both trying to lead, and
Yeah.
we're like, and he's like, no, and I'm like, you know, I've been doing this longer, and he was like, we do this together every year.
And then we usually we figure out a way to
Yeah, we
come
do.
together.
Okay, everybody, thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this very cringy and also very personal podcast.
Very personal.
I had a lot of fun. Maybe you guys could get to know us hopefully a little better now.
Yeah, and if you have any funny relationship advice, stories, questions, etc., DM us. Let us know what you think. Also, follow our Instagram.
All right, so again, what's your name?
Joe.
And you?
Steve.
Thanks so much for joining today and
Thanks
acting like our boyfriends. We actually hired them to be here today.
We did a great job.
I'm still waiting for compensation. We'll see how that goes.
My contract is still out.